Hi, my name's Janelle and welcome back to Rosery Apparel. In this video, I'm going to be attempting to recreate a dress that I found on Instagram. Normally when I make these videos, I like to try to recreate vintage clothing and clothing from fast fashion brands that I don't particularly want to purchase and support with my wallet. But the item I'm going to be recreating today is neither of those things. It's by an amazing handmade and ethical brand called Joanna Sans the Label. I'm obsessed with this brand. I think everything that Joanna makes is absolutely incredible, and I definitely recommend you go check them out and support them if you can. The dress in particular that I'm going to be recreating today is one that is no longer in stock. So it's this beautiful corduroy dress that Joanna used to stock in their online store, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I just think it's one of the most unique dresses I've ever seen. I love the color, I love the corduroy fabric, and because it's no longer something that I can purchase from their label, I feel a little bit more comfortable having to go at recreating it today. So to make my dress, I've managed to find this amazing corduroy fabric. It's quite a pinky toned brown color, and I'm so excited to make a dress from it today. I think it's going to be the perfect winter dress. So let's get into it and let's see if I can make a dress that is half as beautiful as the Joanna Sans dress. To make this dress, I'm going to be merging two patterns together. The first is my Rosa pattern, which I'll have a link to in the description of this video. And the second is this amazing vintage Laura Ashley pattern, as I think the long puffy sleeves are just going to be perfect for this dress. I actually have an entire video all about me making this Laura Ashley pattern, and I'll leave a link to it down below if you'd like to check it out. To start, I take the bodice front and back template pieces of the Rosa pattern and shorten them by about 3 centimeters or an inch. If I were to make this dress again though, I would probably shorten them by about 5 centimeters or 2 inches instead. I then take the Laura Ashley pattern and pull out the long sleeve template. Then with the fabric on the fold, I pin all of the pieces onto it and then cut them out. First up, let's make the bodice of this dress. Taking my water erasable pen and my bodice templates, I mark the bust darts onto the wrong side of the fabric. I then stitch them in place, starting at the point of the darts, and without backstitching, I sew at an angle to the bottom marking to create a kind of triangle shape. I decided to skip the waist darts completely to create a bit more of a boxier fit. Once stitched, I press the darts towards the centre of the dress. Then, with right sides together, I pin the bodice backs to the bodice front and stitch them together along the shoulder seams, and then also along the side seams. I then personally like to overlock the raw edges after each seam to help prevent them from fraying. And the bodice is starting to take shape. Now it's time to make the sleeves. I start by stitching 2 rows of gathering stitches along the top edge of the sleeve like this. I then fold the sleeves in half with right sides together and stitch in place along the side seam. Next, I gather up the top of the sleeve, as this will help ease them into the armholes as well as giving them a little bit of extra puffiness. Then with right sides together, I pin and stitch the sleeves to the bodice. Once stitched in place, I remove any exposed gathering stitches with a seam ripper. Okay, so the bodice is looking amazing. I'm super happy with how the sleeves have turned out. They're just so puffy at the top, exactly like the original. And the original Joanna Sands dress has a ruffled collar, which I'm not 100% sure I want to have on my dress. So I think what I'll do is I'll actually make the ruffled collar, pin it to the bodice, and then see how it looks. And then I'll decide whether or not I want to include it in my dress. So to make the ruffled collar, I cut a rectangle of fabric that is approximately 1 metre or a little over a yard by 10 centimetres or 4 inches. I then fold it in half lengthways with right sides together and stitch the ends together. I then flip and press the rectangle in half right side out and then sew 2 rows of gathering stitches along the raw edge of the rectangle. I also decided to overlock the raw edge to stop it from fraying as I make the ruffle. I then pull on the gathering stitches to gather the fabric up to create the ruffle. Once pinned to the bodice, it looks a little something like this. I then decided to share a photo of the bodice with and without the collar to Instagram to help me decide whether or not to add this ruffled collar to the dress, and we'll check in on the results in a little bit. While we wait on the results, I decided to get started on the skirt of the dress. First, I start by pinning the pockets to the skirt rectangles and then stitch them in place. Then with right sides together, I pin the skirt backs to the skirt fronts, matching the pockets together. I then stitch them together, making sure to stitch around the pockets as I sew. I then press the seams and the pockets towards the skirt front. And I now have 2 nicely hidden inseam pockets like this. Next, I sew 2 rows of gathering stitches along the top edge of the skirt and then gather the fabric of the skirt until it's approximately the same size as the bottom edge of the bodice. Now let's check whether or not to add this ruffled collar. The poll ended up having 80% vote for yes and 20% vote for no, which resulted in over 3,000 more votes for yes. So ruffled collar it is. So to add the collar to the bodice, I simply pinned and sandwiched it in place along the neck edge in between the facing and the bodice pieces. I then carefully stitched it in place. The layers of fabric were getting pretty thick at this point, and I was being really careful not to break a needle. Once stitched in place, I gave the neck edge and the ruffle a good press. and then top stitch the facing in place, again being careful not to break the needle. And the beautiful ruffled collared bodice is complete. Next, with right sides together, I pin the skirt we just made to the bodice. And then stitch it in place. I then give the dress and the gathers a good press. And then I add an invisible zip to the back of the dress. And then finish the dress by hemming the entire bottom edge of the skirt. Okay, and here is a look at the finished dress. I am just over the moon with how this dress has turned out. I'm so excited to wear it all winter long. The only thing I probably would change is bring up the bodice even a little bit more. I would have preferred it if that gathered waistline was just a little bit higher. I might actually end up fixing that and changing that up a little bit, but then at the same time I don't want to lose any of the length in the skirt, so I may end up leaving it. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether or not I should fix that or not. Also, this cute little collar is just such a good addition. When I shared the collar on Instagram stories, someone in the DMs actually informed me that they're known as pie crust collars, which I just think is the most adorable thing ever. It definitely has added something really special to this dress. So yeah, I will insert some footage of me wearing this dress now so you can get a good proper look at it and see if it compares to the original. So I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed seeing a little bit of the making process of this dream winter dress. I actually have quite a few of these making outfits from Instagram videos up on my channel already, so I'll leave the entire playlist down below in the description if you'd like to go and check those ones out as well. Also, don't forget to go and check out Joanna Sands the Label on Instagram. They have so many amazing dresses. Like I said, unfortunately this one is no longer available, but yeah, definitely go and check them out and see some of the other amazing designs they have available. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to subscribe to my channel for more sewing type videos like this one, and come and find me on Instagram at Rosery Apparel if you'd like to see some of the other things I make. Have a lovely day and thanks for watching.